Hey, good evening. This is Cambridge, and this is my vlog on my business journey, my life's journey, and everything in between. Today I wanted to talk about Akira Toriyama and how his work influenced me and a lot of people in my generation. So, to really get where it started from for me, you probably have to go back to maybe 1998 or 1999. A long time ago, really, I guess, probably about at this point. About 25 years ago. And it's really young at that point. At that point, all I had really ever seen as far as TV or cartoons was like, I guess, pretty much American stuff. So I'd watch like the Flintstones or Barney or like just silly stuff like that. I used to be really into cars too, so I'd watch like car documentaries or car videos. Volkswagen had a really good in-depth video of their car line, and I used to watch that kind of over and over a little bit. Other than that, there really wasn't too much, At that time, it was like PBS, and then you'd get into like infomercials and a lot of other like boring stuff. It'd be like Family Matters and like stuff that was really a lot older than what I was really trying to see. But I remember at that point, going back to American stuff was really big. There wasn't really, nobody was really delving into like anime or anything foreign like that. I mean, you had people who were into it, but it was more like harem stuff, like harem stuff or like Tenchi stuff like that, but like softcore hentai stuff, but like nobody was really into like shonen or any mainstream stuff. You didn't really have the big three or anything like that back then. It was just like stuff that you find at the library or Blockbuster or like the side VHS store, like stuff like that. It was all background stuff, So I remember my first time seeing Dragon Ball Z. I had never really seen anything like that, to be honest. It was so detailed, and the characters were so intricate and different. Like they had pulled from so many sources that it was really enlightening to the eyes. Each character had like such a wealth of design in it that it really just hooked you. One of the things I remember. Another thing I remember was just the fluidity of the animation. A lot of the animation in American cartoons back then was like really simple, slow stuff. You didn't really get like 2 or 3 frames where like big things were happening. You'd get like 2 or 3 frames, it'd be like a slow dialogue or something like that. You wouldn't get like 2 or 3 frames like body movement, or 2 or 3 frames like something new and different happening, if that makes sense. So that was one of the things that really got to me. You know, it made me really like anime, because it was just different. You know, it was so different actually. My parents didn't like that, the fighting in it. So I had to sneak and watch it, or not really watch it at all. And that's what ended up happening with Dragon Ball Z. I didn't watch too much of it, but I caught a lot of Akira Toriyama's work later on, and Chrono Trigger, and Dragon Quest, which was really, two really fun games. And really got me into his art style. Another thing I liked about Akira Toriyama's work is it didn't really get big and popular in America until Dragon Ball Z, which was something like, I don't know how many episodes Dragon Ball had, but it was like 150 to 400 episodes of Dragon Ball, if you can imagine. So that might be maybe 1,500 chapters of manga. So it's a lot of animation, a lot of drawing, a lot of work put in before it even reached mainstream popularity. And that's one of the things I like about just anime, manga, and like, I guess you would say Japanese culture in general, is is how comfortable they are with like heavy repetitions of work. You know, like it wouldn't be abnormal to put in like 100 or 1,000 hours into a game, or an art piece, or a TV show, or a drawing, or a manga, or whatever you're putting your energy into. It was really normal for intricate, detailed work along with the reps to be put in. Over a long period of time. And that's what makes anime special to me. I still watch anime now, actually, because I like the storylines. I like how the characters make it through their hardship, which can often be very varied and difficult and arduous and all types of different ways. But they get to their destination, and they get to where they need to be in their own unique way. I also like it because I also like anime just in general, because they won't have the best backgrounds. A lot of times shit could be going wrong. Things could be super fucked up. They won't be like the most popular, or the most loved, or the strongest, or the whatever heroic archetype is in the mainstream. A lot of times they won't have that. But whatever gift or talent or special ability they do have allows them to make their mark in the world. And that's, to me, that's It's a common theme in anime that you don't really see in a lot of other in art mediums. And so Akira Toriyama, another thing I like about his work was after all that effort put into Dragon Ball and Dr. Slump, his work paved the way for other animes, other people to get their art and vocation out into the American mainstream, which often brought a lot of fame, fortune, and other things for manga artists, and anime artists who work so hard. It's very hard to sit there and paint and ink out the pages or the frames or the cells for the anime. It's a lot of work. It's often Pixar, Disney level work with like a fast food type budget. So often it's like a labor of love to do these things, but they do it anyway because it's close to their heart. It's what they believe in. It's strength. Even in the creative process, it's strength. Which speaks to me, honestly. I'd speak to you as well. But for me, being an African American, in my mid-30s now, but as a child, I would face a lot of marginalization, a lot of doubt of my innate talents, a lot of doubt in my potential, even when I tried my best, a lot of confusion and lack in the ability to get my ideas across to my teachers, to my fellow students, and to my parents. We'd often be so struggled out or so distraught about money or rent or this or that. We barely ever had the time to get together on the simpler things, the most important things, the pivotal things that would have brought us together in a greater way. Anime had oftentimes taught me things that I couldn't get from my parents, like conflict resolution, the power of being an original, the power of persistence, and the rush of spirit and emotion at triumphant points in time. So I want to thank Akira Toriyama for his effort. The fact that he just kept going and going and going and going. He wasn't afraid to piece together new ideas from cultures that aren't always aligned. Like, for instance, Dragon Ball has a lot of Chinese sources and Chinese inspiration, and Japanese weren't always too fine. Japanese and Chinese haven't always had the best historical relation. And so seeing that come together like that, it really spoke to me in ways that a lot of American media typically doesn't. You know, I'm not bashing it or anything, but it would be nice to see more opposing sides come together on one accord in a lot of ways. Like if Bloods and Crips could come together outside of like rap, or if like different types of black people could understand what we're going through. Like, instead of looking for reasons to separate and distance each other, or laugh at each other, or marginalize each other, we would look for the truth and what we were saying, instead of trying to use what has been said as a gauge for societal socioeconomic standing. You know, people will try to judge what you say as like as like your character or who you are, or other things, instead of looking deeper and looking for the truth and why the thing was said. I'm going through that a lot now. It's like you try to build something, and then you take the things you learned from building in different areas that were more conducive to growth, and you try to bring it back to where you grew up, and it just doesn't work as well. You know, so that's why I like the way Akira Toriyama brought together Chinese and Japanese and other influences that didn't always agree with each other, and oftentimes killed each other in gruesome ways. You know, like, such power in bringing that stuff together and using it for good. A lot of young kids, me included, got a lot of internal strength from Dragon Ball Z. You know, like, there wasn't a lot of anything that really just demonstrated the power of like a personal individual aura or a personal individual strength that can be harnessed upon a moment's notice like that. Extremely original idea that didn't really exist in that way. Really at all. You know, Marvel has its power-ups and things, and DC has its power-ups, and other things have their own little, boosts. But the way Dragon Ball really laid that out was just crazy. And having like another thing, this was totally wild for Americans just in general. The idea of humans as monkeys, or like lighter hued people as monkeys was totally crazy. Cause like in America, like they make you feel like if you're black, you're a monkey. You know, like that's the only type of human or humanoid or whatever you want to call it that can be likened to a monkey. But like having it like, you could say the main characters in Dragon Ball are white or Asian or whatever. But having lighter hued people being also resembled or delineated as apes really just helps. Like it you can't really explain that, but it opened up my psyche. It probably did that for a lot of other people too. They can't explain it, but it opened up my psyche to where I didn't just view myself, as they try to portray us in America, or used to more blatantly. So yeah, that's the power of new ideas from different cultures. You get ideas that aren't bound by your own society's limits, your own society's frustrations. They can help you get past those and see the world as someone else sees it who hasn't ever dealt with white and black frustrations in America, or all the other shit that goes on in different parts of the world. So, I want to thank you, Akira Toriyama, for amazing work, for opening up my eyes and my mind to a new way of thinking, a lifelong love. A great internal strength. A different hue painted on the world. An escape from my immediate surroundings. Thank you, Akira Toriyama. your work showed even before you showed, man. It's often the other way around. People show up before their work, but your work showed up before you showed up. People knew your work before they knew who you were. And that's absolutely incredible. The work from your hands had a bigger reputation. Truly amazing. Thanks, man. To you.